Kicking off the list at number 10, Snake Island. Well, this island already sounds awful. What's going on here? Snake Island is located 95 miles off the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Is that just a name of an island, or do a bunch of snakes live here? Well, sorry to tell you, both. What happened originally was thousands of years ago, the part of the land that once connected the island to mainland disappeared. The ocean rose up before any of these snakes had time to pack their snake bags, and they were stuck on this island forever. These snakes were stuck on the island decade after decade, so now these stuck snakes are just gonna mate and have more snakes. Now the island's full of snakes. The number of snakes is going up. Higher and higher, it's never stopping. One of the deadliest snakes in the world, the golden lancehead viper, yeah, there's over 4,000 of them on this island. It's horrible. Back from 1902 to the early 1920s, a few brave souls lived there and operated the lighthouse. But according to some local myths, the last lighthouse keeper was swarmed by snakes after he left a window open. Worst thing I've ever heard. Let's move on. Number 9, Surtsey Island. While some islands ban humans, others ban humans and seeds. Yeah, no seeds allowed on Surtsey Island. Leave the work snackies behind, my friend. Surtsey Island is an important one on our list here today, as this island was born in 1963. We got a brand new baby island. This new island emerged from the sea 20 miles off the coast of Iceland, and it took around 4 years for Mother Nature to complete this little passion project. An undersea volcano formed this island over the course of 4 years. Just slowly, just making a new island. That's a long, hot process, so now what? What do you do with a brand new island? Sandals Resort? Disney parks? No and nope. Nobody is allowed on this island. The whole idea of Surtsey Island, which I love, is that scientists are trying to study how ecosystems can form themselves without the involvement of us humans. Scientists around the world have all gathered around to do nothing about this island. They're just gonna watch. Only a select few can enter this island, and right before they clock in, they're checked head to toe to make sure they don't have any seeds. 0 seeds. Why? Oh, because scientists found a tomato growing and they were scratching their heads. Where did this come from? How, out of nowhere, how could it be? They were stumped until they found out somebody went number 2 in that same spot long before. Yeah, welcome to Surtsey Island. Hold it. Better not take a shit here or you're fired, buddy. Number 8, North Sentinel Island. Heading over to India, this island is the home of the Sentinelese tribe, one of the most forbidden islands on the world. We're talking about it, let's do it. Located in the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island is about 1,200 kilometers away from India, and while most islands are shrinking, this one is actually growing. It grew back in 2004 phenomenally. Back in 2004, the island lifted up a couple of meters during an earthquake, so the west and south sides gained an extra kilometer. The inhabitants on North Sentinel Island are among the few uncontacted tribes left in the world. You've probably heard about them or seen the thumbnail at some point. They have apparently been around for thousands of years, but there's no sign of agriculture or even fire. Yet still, this tribe has somehow continued to thrive. If we try and get close, they will attack us. After the 2004 tsunami, the Indian Coast Guard flew over to check on the island, make sure everyone's okay, but once they flew too close, the tribe attacked with arrows. So they could not land, obviously, but what if you arrived by boat? What would happen? Well, also bad. Back in 2006, 2 fishermen lost their lives because they got too close to the island without knowing who was on it. The Sentinelese have lived here for around 60,000 years, and I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Number 7, Niue Island. Located in Hawaii, Niue Island is quite small, and its population as well is pretty minimal, but why? Where is everyone? This is a beautiful island. Why wouldn't you want to live here? Why do only 170 people live on arguably one of the most beautiful islands in the world? Niue Island has also been referred to as the Forbidden Island, hence why we're including it on our list here today. It was bought back in 1864 by Elizabeth Sinclair, and it's been privately owned since then. So no one knows what's going on, hence the small population. The thing is though, in 1952, the polio epidemic hit the islands and a ban was then put in place permanently. You couldn't leave or enter the island. That's it. Locked down to the extreme. Like an island locked down, that'd be so scary. Nobody got sick, but now if you want to enter the island, you need to gain special access, which is a lot harder than it may seem. Absolutely no tourists or outsiders allowed. Period. It was sold by Hawaii's king Kamehameha back in 1863 to the Robinson family, but as of 1915, no outsiders again are still allowed in. Some island cult behavior is going on here, I don't know. Whoever lives here does so without plumbing, telephone lines, or Netflix. Impressive. Even today, the island is of course off bounds. The Coast Guard is always patrolling the island too as well. What do you think lies on Niue Island? Top secret government stuff? Probably. Number 6, Heard Island. Have you heard about this island? Heard Island? No? Well, listen up. Right in the middle of Antarctica and Australia, there is this island, Heard Island. The Australian government has made it illegal for anybody to visit it, so if you have some free time and a kayak and some suntan lotion, don't even think about it. Go the other way. You won't make it. So why is this island forbidden? Is this one full of deadly snakes? Maybe, honestly. The myth here surrounding Heard Island is that there's animals we don't even know exist living here. We got some secret hybrid animals. This sounds a lot like Jurassic Park so far. The island itself is quite unique geographically. See, Heard Island is home to 2 volcanoes as well as the tallest mountain in Australia. So there's plenty of space for hybrid animals to hide and be scary. I love the idea of animals getting their own island, honestly. We have enough, I'd say. Time to give 1 or 2 back. Except for Snake Island. That one, we don't want that one. You can keep that one for sure. Number 5, North Brother Island. Located right between Rikers Island and the Bronx, quietly tucked away on the East River, North Brother Island was once home to a hospital back in the 19th century. You may be thinking, a hospital on an island? How inconvenient is this? What's going on? Riverside Hospital was available for patients suffering from yellow fever, smallpox, or tuberculosis. So it was a quarantine zone, essentially. The hospital has since been abandoned. It's now sitting there literally falling to pieces. And the island has been quite active, oddly. A body was found near the island recently. A steamship called the General Slocum crashed on the island. There's also a haunted lighthouse on this island. And they even have what's referred to as Coffin Corner on this island. Yeah, Coffin Corner. I'm all set. I'd rather explore the Bronx than explore this island, honestly. Number 4, Robins Island. Okay, we have a forbidden island and it's not cursed. We have a nice one, dare I say. Here we go. The privately owned Robinson Island is massive and beautiful. It's not made of lava or snakes, it's just sand and trees. Just a good time. And best of all, no humans at all. The 435-acre island sits off the coast of New Suffolk, New York. Many names have come and go when it comes to island ownership here, but as of right now, it's forbidden and it's a nature preserve. I'm okay with that. We can stay away from that one. The owner now is a man named Louis Bacon. He has poured time and money into building the sanctuary, and he fears that if anybody else gets involved, the whole thing will just fail. Honestly, considering our number 1 spot, he's got a point. Aside from that side quest that Mr. Bacon's pulling off, Robins Island is also home to the largest population of turtles in the state. So don't worry, he's not completely alone. It's got a bunch of turtles. Number 3, Diego Garcia Island. An island with an airport. Okay, there's gotta be something good here, right? Located in the Indian Ocean, Diego Garcia is perhaps one of the most bizarre on this list. Definitely interesting. The island was once a part of the United Kingdom, but in order to settle up a debt in the millions, the UK had to hand it over to the United States. Gee, I wonder what they did with it. Is it a turtle sanctuary? Is it a Forbidden Seed Island Part 2, perhaps? What's the game plan here? What are we doing? Well, today Diego Garcia is a top secret military base. Hence the airport. Although it's forbidden to enter, there's over 600 buildings resting on this island, as well as thousands of military personnel, but again, nobody knows what the island is really hiding, or what it's being used for. Maybe this is where they're keeping the Winter Soldier. Could be. He could punch through anyone. You can punch 6,000 people easily. Number 2, Poveglia Island. The small island of Poveglia has taken many lives. When the bubonic plague arrived in 1348, the island then became a quarantine colony, just like our one earlier. So if you had symptoms, you were sent to this island to... yeah, it was a sad reality. Not a lot of solutions back then. Again, in 1630, the Black Death crept in, and once again the center of this island became a mass graveyard. All bad so far. The soil, they say, is 50% human remains at this point. So if you're looking to plant some haunted sunflowers, there you go. There's your soil, weirdo. Today the island is abandoned, rightfully so. It's closed off to both tourists and locals. Hey, now that things are opening up again, what do you say we head to Poveglia Island? Check out some bubonic plague history. No? We're good? Alright, cool. We'll go to Niagara Falls. If its dark history doesn't scare you away, the ghost stories surrounding the island might. In the early 20th century, mentally ill patients were sent to this island, but the doctor that was responsible for curing them for all these treatments, he would actually try these bizarre, insane methods. Cruel methods, really. And the doctor himself ended up going mad, and he ended up jumping to his death from the bell tower. The bell tower no longer stands, but the soil is still 50% remains, so either way, ghosts or history, that's a no from me. I would rather go to... Number 1, Garbage Island. We must finish with this one, the largest island of them all. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Smells good. Smells like the ocean and all the garbage we've thrown into it. It's located in the North Pacific subtropical gyre. There's basically 4 of these large systems just swirling ocean currents, and some of them are chock full of garbage. Pretty disturbing, right? I've heard of the garbage patch before, but I had no idea how large it really was. This trash island is 3 times the size of France. And if that's not big enough for you, it's twice the size of Texas. Someone's like, oh, now I get it. This island is man-made, obviously, and it continues to grow. But it's not all grim, however, for our #1 spot. There is a team working on reducing that size. The environmental nonprofit Ocean Cleanup has removed around 65,000 pounds of trash. So maybe next time you see this, there'll be only 9 islands. We're hoping.
Starting off this countdown, we have the Bluffs. Scarborough, Ontario is known for their bluffs. We call them the Scarborough Bluffs. It's a very popular place to go to, and the view is amazing. Tons of people like climbing to the top of the bluffs and then like looking down at the lake below. But over the time, the bluffs have been subjected to erosion and have had landslides. And some of the ground on top of the bluffs has been known to give away under people's feet if they get too close to the edge. As a result, they fenced off the bluffs to avoid this from happening. They even have a security guard monitoring the area to prevent people from going to these bluffs. Sadly, people still don't listen, and a number of people have snuck their way to the top of the bluffs. A number of people have fallen to their death. In 2018, there were 18 incidents that involved people falling down from the bluffs. People don't understand just how dangerous this area is. They look at it as a good photo opportunity. In our 9th spot today, we have Disneyland. Now, you might be like, huh? Lindsay, Disney is not a prohibited location to visit. Well, yes, you're allowed to go there during the day when it's open, but it's illegal to try to enter the park and trespass when it's closed during the night. That's what teen Thomas Guy Cleveland tried to do in 1956. Now, the park wasn't completely closed. It was hosting their annual grad night. Thomas thought it would be a good idea to try to sneak into the park, so he climbed over the park's 16-foot-high fence. Then he climbed onto the monorail track. His plan was to then run along the monorail track until he was inside the park and then jump or climb down. However, this didn't go according to plan. While trying to sneak into the park, the monorail came along the track and struck him. It ended up dragging his body 30 to 40 feet down the track. He sadly lost his life. In our 8th spot today, we have SeaWorld. What's with people trying to sneak into amusement parks at night? This is another example of it gone terribly, terribly wrong. On July 6th of 1999, a man named Daniel Dukes snuck into SeaWorld. It said that Daniel was kind of a hippie and he loved animals. All he wanted to do was to be able to swim with the whales. So he stayed into the park until it closed and then managed to elude security in order to make his way to Tillicum's tank. That's where he hopped in naked and swam around. Sadly, Tillicum attacked and killed him. He was found the next day dead. In our 7th spot today, we have the Hawaii Blowhole. The Halong Blowhole in Hawaii is quite an amazing sight to see, but it is very, very dangerous. Hence why it's fenced off and surrounded by signs saying no trespassing. Well, in June of 2002, Daniel Dick and his family went on vacation in Hawaii. Where they were staying was connected to a beach, and the beach was right by this blowhole. One morning, Daniel went out to the beach alone and started chatting up some girls. From there, he convinced them to come with him to this blowhole. While there, Daniel hopped over the fence and went directly to it. He hovered over the blowhole until it shot up water. Daniel ended up shooting up into the sky, and then on his way down, he fell into the blowhole. He was then trapped in there, and it was high tide, so it was impossible to swim out or to climb out of it the way that he came in. He was stuck in there for nearly 20 hours before it was safe to save him, but by that time, he had already died. In our 6th spot today, we have the Stairway to Heaven. Located in Hawaii, the Stairway to Heaven is considered one of Hawaii's most dangerous trails. It's very steep, and a number of people have died or have gotten badly injured from climbing it. As a result, it was closed in 1987. But that didn't stop Dalen Pua. On February 27th of 2015, Dalen trespassed into the area and decided to climb this path. He had done so without telling his family where he was going. He knew that they would stop him because his grandmother told him just how dangerous it was. Sadly, he never returned home. His body was never found. The last time Dalen's family ever heard from him was around 11 a.m. that day when he texted his family a photo of him at the trail. Theory goes that he ended up falling to his death. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Pelican Valley. In July of 1984, a woman named Brigitte Friedenhagen and her 3 pals were exploring this area. Brigitte had plans to stay the night in Pelican Valley, which is near Yellowstone National Park. It is very dangerous though. In fact, park rangers say you should only go there if you're in a group of 4 to 7 during the day, and you have to stick to the path. Brigida, however, decided to go alone and camp the night. That night, she was attacked and killed by a bear. It dragged her out of her tent by her skull and sadly ate her. The park rangers literally warned her about staying there alone, but she assured them that she was an experienced camper and that she could handle it. Sadly, the park rangers were right. In our fourth spot, we have Snake Island. Now, I didn't mention Snake Island in my last video, and I got so many comments being like, what about Snake Island? But then when I do mention Snake Island, you guys are like, ugh, not Snake Island again, so I can't win. But I will say it does deserve a spot on today's list, so I'm putting it there. So as most of you know, Snake Island is a very dangerous island located in Brazil. And that's because this island is home to around 4,000 snakes. Most of them being golden lancehead vipers, aka one of the deadliest serpents in the world. It's said that this type of viper can grow up to 18 inches long, and it's so poisonous that one bite can kill you within an hour. A number of people who have gone to this island have wound up dead. First off, we have the family that was actually running a lighthouse on the island from 1909 to the 1920s. That was until the entire family was found dead in the lighthouse from snake attacks. Another time, a fisherman came to the island searching for bananas, and he never made it home. He was found days later in his boat in a pool of his own blood. As a result, the Brazilian government has banned anyone from ever going there. And if you do, they say that you won't make it back alive and you'll die within an hour. In our third spot today, we have Yellowstone Hot Springs. Yellowstone has a number of natural springs that are absolutely beautiful. Some you're even allowed to swim in. Others will literally cook you alive. In fact, at least 22 people have died from hot spring related injuries. As a result, there are clear signs on areas you can and cannot visit. All visitors must remain on the boardwalk. Straying off this path can be deadly, and that's what happened to Colin Nathaniel Scott in June of 2016. He was with his sister out looking for a place to hot pot, aka to soak in some warm water, and while out looking for this place, he ended up slipping and falling into a boiling hot spring. Emergency services were unable to retrieve his body right away. By the time that they got to him, his body had dissolved from the boiling temperatures. All that was left of him was his wallet and melted flip-flops. In our second spot today, we have North Sentinel Island. Now, this is another island that we have talked about a lot on this channel. Again, it definitely deserves a spot on today's list. Now, the island is home to a tribe that is so isolated from the rest of the world, and they do not like outsiders, which makes sense, okay? They just want to protect themselves and their home. But a man named John Allen Cho thought that it was his job to help him, that this is what God wanted him to do, and if he taught them Christianity, then he could change their lives. So on November of 2018, he headed out to this island. Although a number of people refused to take him there and literally told him that it was a death wish. In the end, he made multiple attempts to befriend the Sentinelese, but they were not having it. They would fire arrows at him to try and get him to leave, but he was persistent. November 16th was the last time anyone would ever see Alan again. Alan was dropped off on the island, and when the boater went back to get him, he saw tribe members dragging his dead body by a rope. And in our number one spot today, we have the Nika Caves, Mexico. Now, this is a beautiful cave filled with giant crystals or gypsum pillars. The cave was discovered in 1910 when miners were drilling in the area, but soon the area was deemed unsafe, and that's because of the climate. The air temperature is around 113 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 47 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is killer, literally. The levels were close to 100%, meaning if anyone was in there for more than 10 minutes without special breathing apparatuses, then their lungs will fill with water and they will drown. So the caves were closed off. That was until 2 miners drilled into it while searching a separate area nearby. When they got inside, they saw all these giant crystals. They're like, you're coming home with me. Little did they know the hazard of being there. So one of the miners started sawing off one of the giant crystals. However, it ended up falling and pinning him under it. Now, this didn't actually kill him. What killed him was being in this hot environment for too long. It's said that he either drowned to death or that he was cooked alive. Starting off this countdown, we have the Old Inunaki Tunnel. This is said to be the most haunted tunnel in Japan, and that's because a number of people have been killed in or around this tunnel. One of the tragedies occurred on December 7th, 1988. 5 teens tried to steal a car, and it ended with them kidnapping and torturing the driver. Over the years, a number of murders have happened there. Like in 2000, a person was killed there and their dead body was found dumped in a nearby dam. So this is why the tunnel is considered cursed. Not only that, but some say the ghosts of the dead haunt this tunnel still. In our 9th spot today, we have Camp Hansen. This was a United States Marine Corps base used during World War II. Now, it's been given the name as one of the most haunted places in the country. One particular eerie area on site is Building 2283. This building was used as housing for the US military. Afterwards, it was used for storage, since no one wanted to live there. That's because it's haunted. In fact, it's the single most haunted house in the entire US military. So legend goes that in the 1970s, an Air Force officer murdered his entire family in this building before killing himself. The next military family to live there reported feeling uneasy and experienced paranoia. And then the father of that family went crazy and stabbed his entire family. So that's why it became a storage house. That didn't stop the spooky activity from happening though. People still report paranormal activity going on in this house. They've seen apparitions of the family members and have heard screaming and crying. One of the eeriest things is that there is a daycare next door, and teachers were getting upset because kids kept throwing their toys over the fence. According to the kids, the children on the other side of the fence asked them to. Dun dun dun, there's no children there. In our 8th spot today, we have Okigahara Forest, which you probably know better as Suicide Forest, although editors have to beep out the word suicide, so whatever. This forest earned that name because of a number of people have taken their lives in this forest. It's said that every year as many as 100 people go to this forest to take their life. But why this forest? Why this place in particular? How did it start? Well, it's theorized that a 1960 book called Kuro Jukai started this concept. In the book, a heartbroken lover goes to the sea of trees to end her life. Others believe that the forest has some sort of curse that forces people into thinking these thoughts. Either way, it's a very scary forest. Those that stray from the path have run into bodies hanging from the trees. In fact, cases got so bad that the Japanese government had to place a board outside of the forest that reads, "Think carefully about your children, your family, and your life is a precious gift from your parents." But still, some say that there's a weird negative energy and eerie silence that washes over you when you enter this forest. In our 7th spot today, we have Orinbachi Bridge. The story behind this haunted bridge is a brutal one. Apparently in the 17th century, this area was a place for women of the night to find lonely miners. The area by this bridge had gold mines that were run by the Takeda clan, who also ran a brothel to keep these miners happy. Well, one night a group of miners killed 55 prostitutes on this bridge by destroying it. Their bodies fell into the gorge below. To this day, it's said that cries and screams of the women can be heard from the gorge. In our 6th spot today, we have Nakagasuku Hotel. This is actually a very famous haunted attraction in Japan. Now, it was first built as a luxury resort/hotel. However, a monk warned them not to build the hotel there as it would disturb the graves in the area. But they did not listen and they built it anyways. As a result, a number of the workers became cursed. Some got badly injured. Others died during construction, so they stopped the construction of it. Now, the owner was mad, and as an attempt to show the workers that there was nothing to fear, he decided to stay overnight at this hotel. He was never the same after that night. When people found him, he was incoherent, talking nonsense. He ended up disappearing and no one saw him ever again. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Okiku Well. This is another very extremely haunted place in Japan, and that's because it's haunted by the spirit of Okiku, a young girl who worked at a castle as a servant to a well-respected samurai. Now, there are 2 versions of the story, so I don't know which one is real, but both stories end with the samurai becoming enraged with the girl and throwing her down the well on their lot. To this day, her soul still haunts this well. It's said that every night she crawls out of the well and wails at the top of her lungs. In our fourth spot today, we have the SSS Curve. Located in Okinawa, hopefully I pronounced that right, the SSS Curve is a pathway which gets its name from the shape of it. Now, what's the big deal about this path, you ask? Well, this is the path where a number of Japanese soldiers lost their lives in World War II, and to this day it's believed that their souls have never been able to move on. They are attached to the land and continue to haunt it. In fact, people who have walked this path have often felt like someone or something was touching them. Others have gotten sick and dizzy. Some even have experienced hallucinations. In our third spot today, we have the Himoru Mansion. This is for sure one place you should never travel to. Unless you're crazy, then go ahead. So apparently this mansion was the site of a number of gruesome murders. 7 individuals were found murdered during an occult ritual. The individuals were practicing a strangling ritual to try and seal off bad karma on the earth. The ritual involved raising a woman in secret, not letting her form any connections with anyone, and then tying her limbs to oxen for it to drag her. Then when that was done, all 4 of her limbs were tied to different oxen, and then they would, move. However, it turns out that this woman had secretly fallen in love with a young man, so the ritual did not work. Since it failed, the man of the household killed everyone before taking his own life. To this day, the family's ghosts still linger in this house. Some say they feel compelled to complete this ritual on their behalf. Others have said that they have seen blood splatters appear on the walls. Others have seen this woman's face appear in the window. In our second spot today, we have Iojima Island. Now, let's stop with all the haunted stuff for just 1 second, because this island is scarier than ghosts, okay? And that's because it is very dangerous. It is home to a 161-meter high volcano. This volcano has been listed as the most dangerous active volcano in the world. In fact, it's said to erupt sometime in the next 100 years. An eruption would lead to a huge 25-meter high tsunami that would hit the coasts of both China and Japan. Millions would die as a result, and we can't really prevent this from happening. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Round Schoolhouse Ruins. This was a school built in 1906, and based on its name, I'm sure you can guess. Yes, it was built in a circular fashion. Now, this school was built for children of coal miners that worked at the mines nearby. However, in 1974, the school was abandoned after Japan decided to import coal instead. And nowadays, it's considered very haunted. Are we surprised? No. A number of people who have explored this dilapidated building have heard voices and footsteps. Some even hear screams coming from the woods at night. One story goes that a group of friends decided to explore the ruins of the house when a strange figure attacked and chased them back to their car. They claim that this figure was not human at all. In fact, even Japanese mediums refuse to go anywhere near this site because they get bad vibes from it.